Hello and welcome back to another episode of Only a Bag, an Italy travel podcast. I'm Darcy Melton.
And I'm Nathaniel Malor.
And we are continuing this mini-series of 4 episodes by talking about what to wear and what not to wear in Italy in the fall.
Yes, in the last episode we talked about the summer, and now we are obviously going to continue with the seasons. But before, we just want to say thank you to everyone who has been listening and who's been leaving reviews and been sharing with your friends. If you'd like to follow us or leave us a review, you can do so both on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. You can also follow us on Instagram at onlybagpodcast, or you can send us an email at onlybagpodcast@gmail.com. We also have a Blue Sky, albeit very small, Only a Bag. And last but not least, we have a website, onlyabag.com, where you can send us a message, or you can just read our articles, bookmark them, and keep them for later. As we mentioned last episode, a lot of these will probably end up as, articles at some point when we kind of clarify what we're saying exactly and make it really succinct and into about 1,000 words. Last but not least, if you'd like to support us financially and help us get new microphones, that is our goal, you can do so on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/onlyabag, where you can donate. I think anything from $1 upwards. I think $1 is literally the smallest amount you can donate. But unfortunately, it's not. It's like not a 501(c)(3) thing. I just want to throw it out there because in case, don't put on your taxes. Basically, you're just giving us money. You're not it's not a nonprofit situation. And without further ado, hopping on into it, what not to wear or to wear in the fall. But I think we established in the last episode that we should go ahead and just knock out the classic. Don't wear this if you're trying to blend in.
Right.
But even first, because we put it in too late in the last episode, we're learning as we go along, y'all, is that this is just simply in kind of 2 parts. One, if you want to blend in, here are some ways you can dress more Italian, whatever that might mean. But also, second, is do you actually need to buy things for your trip? And so first off, pretty much anything you own, if you live in a place that has a summer, fall, winter, or spring, you don't need to bring anything to Italy in those months. I mean, I say that because I think people in Southern California...
You don't need to bring anything?
You don't need to buy anything new for those months. Like if you're in Southern California and you've never experienced winter before and you're coming to Italy in the winter, you might have to buy winter gear.
Right.
There's no way around that. And if you live in Portland, I don't know where a place that has a very mild summer, which actually... Alaska, yeah, I don't know. Right? If you're in this place that's a very, very, Scotland, if you're Scottish... Yeah, and you're coming here in the summer, you need to bring summer gear.
Leave that wool sweater at home, you Scottish people, if you're coming to Italy in the summertime.
It's what is the what's his face? Oh my God, what is the coldest winter I ever had was a summer in San Francisco. My gosh, how am I spacing his name? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But somebody's going to hear that and it's oh, I know who he's actually saying. You're saying the guy who wrote Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, Samuel Clemens. What is his pen name? Nobody knows. Anyway. Point is, I'm completely spacing. It's horrible. And, what I'm talking about. Darcy's now looking at the face. Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn. This is horrible. This has already gone too long.
Can we take this out?
Yeah.
Is it Mark?
I paused it as Darcy said Mark Twain, y'all. I'm sorry.
I was thinking the name Mark Twain, and I was like, Darcy, obviously it's not Mark Twain, you silly goose, but it was.
It was. This has gone on too long, this tangent, and it's going to stay in because you know what? It is a cold, cold summer in San Francisco. Point is, it's not in Italy, so you should dress for hot summers. And the 2 big things was simply don't necessarily go out and buy new things. You probably already own everything you need to own, and it is 100% okay to prioritize your own comfort when you're in Italy. Anywhere really, because if you're traveling, it's kind of like you're already stepping out of your comfort zone in a lot of ways. Sleep schedule, food, language. I mean, it's all new, it's all different. So if you're just I just kind of want to wear clothes that I like, that make me feel good, that I'm comfortable and familiar with, totally fine. Bring what makes you happy. This is more just on if you want to blend in, if you want to buy some clothes that are here, what makes you feel more Italian. If you want to go home looking more Italian than you came, that type of thing. Then this is kind of for you. And then also the second part of this, or the third part of this is, in either case, in fall, here's typically what you wear just to sort of be, in terms of the weather, in terms of the temperatures. Of course, it's a very long country, so, southern Sicily and then Dolomites aren't exactly the same weather-wise, but...
For sure.
This is get you started.
Yeah.
So, not to wears.
Not to wear general?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
I'm going to go with the same one I said last time. Athleisure. People here don't wear athleisure. That full-on yoga matching a top and bottom situation, people don't wear that out and about.
Not a thing, yeah. I think we also talked about Sweatshirts, sweatpants, not really a thing either. Tracksuits, yes. Sweat stuff.
There's sweatsuits,
Yeah.
right? I feel like that classic, like gray top and bottom, kind of puffy outfit. People don't wear that. Tracksuits, yes.
Yeah. Adidas stripes, absolutely. And then I think actually I forgot to mention this last one. I wish I did, and I might go back. But jerseys, it is a thing. Totally. Like I think I read somewhere like, oh, don't wear a jersey unless a game's happening. But people absolutely do, especially in like Naples and stuff, where people are very, very proud of the team, the Napoli team.
I do want to mention, though, I don't know anything about this, and this is not a slight against Napolitano people, but people in general, everywhere, especially with soccer, I think can get very incensed, you know?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
if there is a game going on, just be aware, maybe don't wear like the rival team's
Yes.
jersey if there's like a big Napoli game going on. That's not a big concern, but if you're just in a certain, like, I don't know, if you're at late night near a sports thing in a bar or something, someone might get sort of incensed and upset if you're wearing the
No,
rival
for sure. A lot of
jersey.
fights, I think, in Italy happen
But I feel like
because
that's,
of sports,
yeah,
of soccer.
but I feel like that's pretty universal.
Yeah. No, exactly. I just meant like specifically, like, and so to avoid it, don't like, to avoid somebody just punching you in the face for no reason, just sort of don't.
But in general, people definitely wear jerseys.
yeah, it's also, I mean, I think you're like a lot, like if you want to avoid that, you're like wearing a Barcelona jersey in Italy is fine because it's kind of like, that's not, I don't think they play in any of the same teams and there's no rivalry, and it's like, oh yeah, you like soccer, nice, Barcelona or whatever it is, Manchester, fine.
Yeah.
But also weirdly, strangely, basketball jerseys are pretty big here.
Tons of people wear those like Lakers jerseys and Lakers, I don't know, sports. It's not a sports jacket. That's a different thing. What's the you know how like football
Like
players,
varsity jacket type thing? Or
yeah,
no? Yeah.
a lot of people wear like the varsity jacket style with Lakers on it, and I
Okay.
think it's just like H&M or some other brand makes them,
yeah.
because it's never Americans who are wearing these,
No,
especially
yeah.
the varsity jersey style. It's always
Well, honestly,
Europeans.
it's funny. I mean, it's only funny to us because I think we watched something, a John Oliver episode on like MS-13 and how like Chicago Bulls is the sign of MS-13, and it's like so many people here are decked out in Chicago Bulls. I mean, the hat, the jersey, the pant, the shorts.
We were at the market today in our small tiny town, and they were selling Chicago Bulls shirts at like the jeans stall.
Yeah, so it's just I mean, again, we talked about this in the last episode, and again, we're trying not to repeat too much, but we're repeating in case you only listen to this episode. We are trying to repeat certain things. So I guess if you've already heard this, you can skip through. But there is definitely a lot of pop culture in Italy, obviously, and social media culture. So if people are wearing it on social media, if it's like, I don't know, pop stars, K-pop stars, actors, not really actors so much, it's like TikTok stars more than anything else,
Yeah.
are wearing these things, then it's going to be worn here. So, and for now, I mean, I think it was like last year, the year before, it was like everybody had a really nice, well-pressed, like, Yankees or White Sox, like,
Yeah, like the baseball shirt. Yeah.
Like, it was like, I'm like, wow, that's really like almost official. Like, where did you get that? So yes, I think jerseys are honestly fine to wear, pretty much whenever. Like, I mean, it's just like, yeah, loving a sports team. It's kind of like in the States, if you wear a jersey out, nobody's like, oh, what a weirdo. It's like, of course.
It's fine.
So that's something. And then I think we'll talk more about other things like not to wears and wears, but those are just I think the two big.
Like I said in the last episode, white tennis shoes and baseball caps
Yes.
are ubiquitous now. Lots of people wear them, Europeans, Italians alike. It's not just an American thing anymore, so you won't necessarily stand out for that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think graphic tees are the other ones that we mentioned is a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a graphic tee is super rare to see somebody in. So again, if you have graphic tees and that's what you're bringing, awesome. But if you are like, I want to look kind of Italian, I want to blend in, I don't want people to greet me in English as soon as I walk up to them, then I would leave the graphic tees at home and instead pack like, and even especially polo. Like, I've never seen an Italian man in a polo, like a classic polo shirt.
Not really.
Which could be like, again, that could be just me not noticing, but
there
like,
are some, actually, thinking of the market today, there were some people in somewhat polos, but they don't look like American polo shirts. And I don't know if it's the fit or the person wearing it, but
there's something different.
there is something different. Yeah.
It's also, I don't know. It's like, I think I always have this affiliation between polo shirts and school because we had school uniforms that were polo shirts. So it could be that. But that is just simply like button down shirts. Absolutely. If you want to blend in, white, gray, blue, whatever, button down shirts, something super simple, and you're going to everyone's going to assume you're Italian, especially if you have fitted pants on.
Yes.
That's always a big one. So fall.
Yeah.
I guess, what would you wear in the fall?
Okay, great question. Again, same as the last one. I love a dress. I find them incredibly practical. A nice maxi dress because my legs get chilly. I like to wear that in a little, depending on the weather. So here, it can still be hot in it coming into like October. So it might still be a little bit warm, but then I don't know, like a cardigan in the evening when it gets chilly or during the daytime. I love like a nice pullover sweater. And then I don't like jeans, but they are practical sometimes, especially like you and I do sometimes go hiking. And jeans, while not recommended for intense hikes, but I learned that from our social studies teacher.
Yeah.
But jeans are practical.
Cotton kills.
Exactly. Jeans are pretty practical for like if you're in the city, and then if you're doing a little walk and you need to have a covered pant for safety for snakes or like briars or whatever. And talking about jeans, we mentioned this in the last episode. So like vintage Levi's are pretty popular here, especially I feel with like quote unquote young people, because like retro and vintage is popular. So that like tried true American Levi. And people wear jeans in general as well. But the fit in general with all clothes across the board tends to be not tight, but fitted.
Yes.
A tailored look rather than loose, except for like in the last episode where we were talking about large linen dresses and muumuus and stuff. Those are big and breezy, but in general, fitted is the more Italian look.
And especially, I think, like for like men, basically, it's going to be, it's rare that you see somebody in loose. I mean, like it used to be normal, I guess, in the 20s, but now it's a lot of even high end, even well made, even with older men, it'll be fitted. Sometimes it's very, very fitted. Sometimes it's just painted on. But I think it's a big thing to have fitted. In the last episode, we talked about summer. It's linen. That's a big one. I think fall and then winter and spring, but that's when you start pulling out the wool. That's the big time to pull out wool, cashmere wool, merino wool, baby lamb's wool, whatever it is. In the markets we talked about in the summer, it'll be a lot of linen in this, as I said in the last episode. In the fall, that's when you start seeing people bring out as you talked about, the sweaters. You'll start seeing cashmere in a lot of markets. And both new but also used. I mean, you and I own a ton of cashmere things.
And we are not that fancy.
No, but only because it's like €5 for a sweater. And it's like, that's a cashmere sweater. That's nice. So it's kind of, again, it's like it's almost like we tend to dress Italian simply because we go and shop at used things. And they tend to be a lot of obviously Italian used clothing. So it's like, well, of course I look Italian. I just bought like a real live Italian wore this before me. Yeah. So it's kind of, it's a little bit like, well, of course I look kind of Italian. I never pass as Italian, y'all. I'm too tall and pale and blonde to look Italian. Everyone just assumes I'm German. So I don't have a chance at ever looking any Italian. Doesn't matter what I wear. But that being said, is in the summer, or in the fall, if you have a light jacket, I think is if you're packing, especially, this is more of a packing thing. Everyone should bring a light jacket minimum. Obviously, you should check the weather before you come because it might be warm, but that's also when the rainy season starts in the fall.
Yeah.
So absolutely bring a rain jacket. A rain jacket with some sort of warm lining isn't a bad idea. I wouldn't necessarily, if I were you, I wouldn't really worry about that being like looking touristy or not, because I'd say a lot of Italians tend to be like not a waterproof jacket and then have they'll use an umbrella instead. And I think like in Milan, we notice a lot of people have a London fog jacket on.
Yeah.
But it seems to be like, I guess, but it's the same thing anywhere else. Like I think if you were home, I'd use an umbrella and wear whatever's comfortable. I wouldn't necessarily have like the $300 high-tech rain jacket on. So I apologize if this is scattered. I'm trying to basically answer some possible questions of what do you wear, and it's essentially, it's raining, bring a rain jacket. Don't worry about umbrellas. They are €5 each if you want to get one, but don't bring an umbrella. If you want to wear wool, I highly recommend it. You said pullover sweaters, cardigans. Everybody wears a cardigan. It's a classic item if you have a cardigan. I have like 19 cardigans. I think I have like 4 pullover sweaters and the rest are cardigans. I honestly think I bought one. I think the rest of them have been like gifted.
Yeah.
So that's a big one, I think. Jeans, huge, as you mentioned already. That's also kind of where you start seeing chinos and sort of wool pants. Again, it's more of a market thing, I would say.
But, yeah, potentially.
Like, I mean, because it's harder to find wool pants new than it used to. I mean, it used to be really easy. Sure. And that's kind of where you start seeing wool pants. Like people kind of dress nice wool pants. Loafers still kind of, but it's gone to shoes. Sometimes like even, I'm like the boots though are a little bit Like sometimes you'll see Chelsea boots or some like chukka type things,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still, I don't know. I think Italians have a weird aversion to boots in a city.
I think it depends on if we're, okay. I've seen a lot of women's boots that are very cute. Some are practical, some are less so. But because leather is popular in Italy, there are some really well made, nice looking women's
Yeah.
boots. Men tend to not wear boots as much, at least where we've been. But yeah, I mean, I feel like especially as we're moving into winter, potentially you're going to start seeing like leather boots.
Yes. Yes.
Not necessarily rain boots. And I don't recommend you bringing rain boots like on any vacation unless you are going to be jumping in mud puddles,
Like rain boots, like the sort of
like wellies.
wellies. Okay.
Yeah,
Because I was
that's just
thinking
impractical for
it
bringing.
is, and I think, but if you have like if you have like a pair of boots that are hiking boots, basically, it's again, you're not going to look that Italian. I'll be honest. If that's your goal, it's probably not going to be that Italian. But they are kind of invaluable if you're a tourist, honestly. Mainly because if you, especially if you have one that are water resistant or waterproof, but they are, if you can walk with them in them for a while, the soles you will not. I mean, the we've talked about this before. The cobblestones are uneven. It's easy to trip and fall, but it's also they're quite. I mean, after a long day of walking, like if I'm in flip flops, typically my feet are a bit bruised, which is okay. But it's like day 3 or day 4 of when we're like on a vacation. I'm using flip flops. It's kind of like, oh, my feet are starting to hurt. But it's always nice. The boots, I can't feel anything. It's just like nothing. So they are invaluable if you're coming as a tourist. You won't look that again. You're gonna look that Italian, but it is an invaluable pair of footwear.
I always wear them. My vintage Doc Martens, which I oil up. I should oil them more, but anyways, I wear those a lot in the fall and winter, and they're for me comfortable for walking around quite a lot, and they're good for rain and for any time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, I mean, so that's I'm just making sure we've moved everything in terms of that's jackets, sweaters, jeans, pants, boots.
Ooh, wool socks.
Yeah.
This is not about looking Italian. This is just a practicality. I highly invest. I highly suggest you invest in wool socks. And Costco has some for not very expensive.
That is true if you have a Costco membership. The other thing is like we talked about jackets. I did want to also, we're going to talk about more in the winter episode as well, because that's where kind of it gets popular. But if you happen to be, if you know you're going to like, I don't know, Milan or Torino or in the north, you know, if you're going to go to Como in the off season, it is going to be chilly. In the fall, the temperatures here can range anywhere between the 40s and the 60s. Please forgive me, the rest of the world. I do not know what that is in Celsius. I know it's like 8 to 15. I did the conversion recently, like last few days, and I think it's 8 to something, 8 to 20 maybe. I really wish I remembered. I apologize.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you would think, I mean, come on, we need to figure out the Celsius system, but it can be it can be quite chilly. So if you're going in the south, and again, it's when I say fall, I do mean more October, November, not so much. In my mind, I know that September technically is where it switches from summer to fall. I still consider that late summer.
It's still pretty warm here.
It's still pretty warm. We've talked to people who've actually coming in the October, and we've recommended this before. And this is why it's a kind of a funky one of really genuinely the only thing we recommend is a look at the weather. Like the Amalfi Coast, the Cilento Coast, we've kept doing episodes on those. They are still swimmable in the early October. And then in the late October, honestly, there are occasionally a day or two where it just spikes up to 80 again. And
I would say, honestly, I mean, this year's weather has been a bit weird, but in general, on the Amalfi Coast and to the south, and even once we were in Rio Maggiore, so on the coast, but in the north, it was fairly warm during the day.
Yeah.
And then it got chilly in the evening in mid-October. So it's a difficult season to visit in because you kind of need 2 seasons of clothing.
100%.
Between rain and sun and then heat and cold. It's just...
It actually, on that, spring and fall might be the hardest times to come because it's going to be super light, like, you know, what I would consider like a t-shirt day, except it'd be a very light linen shirt day. And then the next day you need a jacket and like, you know, flannel or something like that. And actually, if I may, on that note, I was going to mention the winter one. I'll mention it now too, in case y'all have any questions about flannel. Flannel's not that big in Italy.
No.
Obviously, it's more of an American-Canadian type thing, so it's just never really caught on. That being said, it is absolutely catching on. Like, I've been complimented on my flannel shirts. It's really hard to find, though, also, I say this too, in case you are looking for flannel in Italy, almost impossible to find in terms of its stores. And we spent 3 months looking for flannel sheets and then finally gave up and went to Target in America to buy flannel sheets
Yep.
because we could not find them here. So just all to say, flannel's not really a big thing here. But again, so it's more of just, I will say though, it's incredibly comfortable and you should wear it if you have it. It's a perfect temperature for it. It's amazing. It hasn't caught on, but it's kind of like, and I wish we'd mentioned this earlier. We didn't. We'll probably mention earlier for the winter one because it's more important for winter. But Italians are very big on seasons. It's like as soon as the summer season ends, everything's packed away in a closet. It doesn't matter if the temperature hasn't changed. Like a lot of Italians will just.
It's very evident in the winter.
Yes.
Because people will wear their jackets even on if there's a hotter winter day, they're still wearing their big winter jacket because it's wintertime. And then once wintertime is officially over, that jacket goes away. And even though if there's a chillier day, people are still wearing their summer and spring clothes.
Yes.
You know?
It's kind of an interesting, I mean, it's just an interesting way of just basically being, and you could kind of get like crazy looks if you're not wearing your jacket on a winter day and you're like, it's 70. I'm not wearing a jacket. It's a pretty warm day. But then somebody walks by the puffer like, what is this guy? What does he think it's middle of summer? So it's just kind of a funny little like, I don't know. It's the same thing about like, you'll know, we've talked about this so many times, but again, you will notice in the summer, AC is not that common. In the winter, heat is not that common. Part of it is expense thing, and part of it is because people believe that if you go from a hot to a cold thing too quickly, it can make you sick. So they try to avoid that by making sure that you suffer in the winter by freezing the entire time. I think that's at least what I was. That's the gist of it. I'm pretty sure. So those are the big ones, I believe, right? That's in terms of what to wear, what not to wear.
I would say on jackets, I think we talked about this, but we've noticed, and obviously the fashion trickles down and trends trickle down and trickle back up. But anyways,
a lot of trickling
in fashion. We've noticed in the north, like Nathaniel said, in Milan, people tend to wear trench coats and what's the other kind? Not in fall necessarily, but in winter, peacoats. No,
peacoats. Yeah,
peacoat? Well, is that what it is? The long peacoat is a peacoat. Okay.
You mean like London fog versus trench coat, or you mean like
no? Like what's the overlapping long wool coat? What is that called?
Peacoat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was just the one that came to your hips.
Got it.
I can't remember words sometimes. So in the north, people tend to wear trench coats and peacoats, where farther south, particularly in Rome and in the south where we are, people often wear puffer jackets.
Yes.
Which is not to say that you need to wear one or the other. It's just kind of a note, which is an interesting transition between the two. But my other note is that if you're thinking in terms of fabric, this is kind of an across the board thing, but Italians tend to wear, so there are wovens and knits.
I love it. We're getting a lesson, y'all.
Knits are stretchy fabrics. Wovens are cotton, linen, anything that's it's not stretchy. So Italians tend to wear more wovens, things that are not as stretchy.
Yes.
Which goes along with all of the, athleisure wear is not a thing, and people tend to not wear sweatsuits. So natural fibers and wovens tend to just be more popular.
No, I think that's actually a totally fair thing in terms of even like t-shirts are not, I've said graphic tees, but even t-shirts are not that big. I mean, they are, but it's like, again, your plumber will come over with a collared shirt on and a little sweater vest and then be under the sink fixing the plumbing. So it's kind of a thing. There's a lot of pride, I think, taken in how somebody looks and how they appear, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you watch like those old photos or whatever of like people working out on the farm and they all have collared shirts and little waistcoats, and you're like, oh, so it was just clothes back then. Now it's like fancy clothes. So that, I think, that there's a I don't know, there's something there. If you'd like to explore it in terms of coming here and looking nice, you're not gonna be, I don't know. I think a lot of Italians, they seem often overdressed, so you're not going to be overdressed, I feel like, unless you're doing something really weird.
I feel like the general aesthetic is like smart casual.
Yes.
Is what I think people might call it,
Exactly. No. So that's, again, fall is a weird time, and this one's going to be a little shorter, mainly because fall is such a weird time. Like, it's easier to talk about winter or even summer than fall and spring, because it can be like, if you're going to Sicily, honestly, it's shorts and linen shirts, even in the fall. And if you're going to the Dolomites, it's pants and boots and puffer jackets. So it kind of really depends on where you are. Blending in, we didn't really talk about this in the last one, but it's going to be hard. I mean, there's no real, you can dress the exact same way as an Italian person, but there's definitely there's still, everyone's be like, oh, that person's Italian, that person's not. Just by the way, I don't know, people look or carry themselves, or, I mean, if you want to have a little purse, like a little men have purses here. I mean, if that's honestly, that is a way to blend right in if you want. It keeps like the phone and the wallet in there. A little pack of cigarettes. You could just smoke the entire time you're here. I think that you'll blend.
We're not endorsing smoking.
Absolutely not. No, don't. You probably shouldn't smoke while you're here. It's a ridiculous waste of money.
Just carry one cigarette around with you all
just
the time.
have the perpetual cigarette. So I think that's kind of everything. I know it's a shorter episode, but I want, without, bloating it. Essentially, it's don't wear athleisure, right? Mm-hmm. You can wear a baseball cap. You can wear jeans. You can wear white sneakers, New Balance, Skechers, things like that. Don't wear graphic tees.
I feel like you always mentioned the dad sort of sneakers. You can also wear Adidas, not endorsing them, but I guess more streamlined sneakers as well.
But I think even here, even in Italy, there were Italian foot brand. I think Else was a Italian tennis brand in the same way that New Balance and Nike and things like that were. Nike was running, I guess, before it was tennis. But there was tennis shoes that were already part of pop culture.
Yeah.
Even in the 60s and 70s that were white. So I just meant or Diadora. That was already a thing here because they're Italian brand.
Yeah, but I think even though they were here, people were told don't wear that. Even if it is more of a streamlined looking sneaker like Diadora is, I think a lot of people 20 years ago were told don't wear white sneakers because they do look American.
And that's why I think in my head I'm don't wear New Balance 20 years ago, or Nike or Skechers. And the reason I mentioned those specifically is because now it's a lot of people have New Balance on or Skechers and of course Nike is massive, obviously. Air Jordans, everybody has Air Jordans. It's in my mind, it's basketball shoes. Nobody here plays basketball. You do not have a basketball team in this country. I'm sure they do, but it's a very...
Not a single one.
Yeah, I've never seen a basketball hoop in this country. So no, I think that's why I default into the New Balance. It's kind of the classic, because I think there's a sort of thing of in a very big, it's comfort. It's the giant sole. Mm-hmm. It's the sort of 18 patches of, performance fabric on top of each other, but then it's guys are just using it to mow the lawn kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then that was the thing. So I think it's now everybody wears those. And they've also become very streetwear with those massive soles and sort of very chunky shoe. So I guess now there really isn't it's becoming, I will say it's becoming fewer of don't wear these things.
Yes.
Again, most of them are, as we've mentioned, athleisure, graphic tees. And those are the two massive ones though, honestly.
I think so.
More than anything else. So I think that's everything.
Yeah. Did you want to mention hats and beanies? I mean, it's more of a winter thing.
It is more a winter thing, but in case you don't listen to the winter one, I will say, hats and beanies. I think you're good pretty much on every, and this is a loose generalization, but people wear beanies. They wear the little, what do they call beanies? There's another word for them, right? There's just
knit cap.
Yeah, I don't know, but the Scully. I think in Canada they're called toques, right? Is that the
Are they?
I think so. I think
it's a cute name.
Little toques, but essentially the little hat, the beanie, y'all know what we're talking about. So essentially that is really popular. Everybody has one. Everybody wears them. It's just keep your head warm and it's great. Less so is the sort of the Englishman newspaper boy hat. I feel like those used to be kind of a thing, gone out of style.
Older Italian men wear those still sometimes though.
Yeah, and I think sometimes they'll even wear the sort of wool fedora type thing, but that's not you will not look Italian in one of those, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you don't need to go out and purchase a wool fedora in order to stand to blend in.
Yes, that could be strange. That would be. I think you have a wool hat, but yours is almost park ranger more than fedora.
The green one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not supposed to look like a park ranger. I think I just have park ranger vibes, and it adds to that.
It does. Well, it's also somebody's grandfather's hat, and they gave it to you because I thought you might like it kind of thing. So it is vintage. It is quite old. It's something they used to wear around, and on them it probably was like a wool farmer's hat, but on you it's straight Smokey the Bear. Yeah. So.
And I'm proud of that.
Yes, you should.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I literally.
Hopefully they can't sue us for me saying that.
I hope not. But yeah, I think hats, you're honestly pretty much good. There isn't really a do not wear this hat in this country. Gloves are a weird one because honestly, it gets cold here sometimes. Even in the fall, you'll have cold snaps. And people don't really wear gloves. And again, if you live here and you're oh no, we do it in Milan or we do in Torino, please let us know because we went through Venice and Florence and Rome, obviously here, Naples, a lot of places in the winter, Matera, we went on a very cold day. And I'm y'all understand that gloves exist. We're all blowing into our hands.
And there are lots of, handmade glove shops in big cities. And I guess I wear gloves because my hands get chilly. I'm chilly all the time.
Your hands are icicles.
Yeah, I know.
Year round.
I've seen more women wearing gloves than I have seen
Yes.
men. Which
And
is,
I don't know
yeah.
if it's something that's like considered like not a masculine feature. And I'm like, do y'all hands don't get cold? Or you just pretend they aren't? Because my hands are freezing right now. I cannot
Uh-huh.
feel my fingertips. So I do think that it's a I don't know. I don't know if it's a psychological thing. I don't know if it's a like as in we were in Scotland, and even though Scotland was actually warmer in their winter than it was in Italy, every single person we saw had gloves on.
Hmm.
So it kind of felt a little bit like, are we missing something?
I
Are
don't
we?
know.
Is it like just hold a coffee cup or something?
Yeah.
If you get cold, go find a coffee cup and hold it. Like I could not figure it out.
But the espresso cups are too tiny. You have to have two to warm each
That could be
hand.
like one each. Like this, it's if your hands are cold, it's time for another coffee. So with that, yeah, I think that would be in the fall if it gets chilly. And again, that is really just in the north. I say that too because if you we've mentioned this before, but if you are coming in the fall and you are like kind of wanting to do a late summer type thing, September, October, maybe even early November in Sicily, you actually can still have a really lovely, almost beach kind of
Hmm.
vibe before the sort of the winter rains and storms start, and then of course you get ruined and it just cold and rained on, and it's not a great time.
Yeah. But I feel like in general, and this is for all of our episodes about what to wear and what not to wear, it is most important that you wear what makes you feel good and confident and comfortable. But if you do want to try to blend while you're here, hopefully some of these tips have helped.
I hope so too. And I hope you learned something. And like I said, next week we'll be coming out with what to wear or not to wear in the winter and the spring to sort of tighten up. And if you have any questions, by the way, in the interim, let us know. We can absolutely tackle them in the winter spring episodes. Even put out a third episode. If there's something sort of broad generalizations you want to know, anything you need clarified, let us know because we realize that this is a pretty giant gaping hole in our knowledge, and not in our knowledge, but in the episode base of Only a Bag. I realize we haven't ever really talked about this. So yeah, we're happy to kind of give more information or more specific information, but these hopefully help as a broad generalization.
I hope so. And we'll talk to you next week. Tanti abbracci.